What's up, guys, and welcome back to Wake Up Entertainment. So, the Meyiwa trial has been postponed again. We thought that the trial was going to resume today after a 2-month delay, but Advocate Mnisi came and cited that the amount of documentation that he has to read is too many pages, from 40,000 to 20,000 pages. So he is requesting a further postponement of the trial.
However, despite my fervent efforts, the court would also be aware that it is the state, and we confirmed with the state that the amount of work that I needed to cover there was almost more than 40,000 pages.
I've read, let me tell you.
Yes.
I've read all that.
Yes.
That record.
Thank you, my lord.
All of it.
Yes.
You can phone my wife.
Yes.
And my children.
Yes, my lord.
I've read it.
But with me, my lord, and I'm not trying to argue with the court, with me is not only reading.
Yeah.
It's to read.
Yeah.
And to analyze.
Yes.
Compare and contrast.
Yes.
And to formulate my argument.
Yes.
In respect of the cross-examination, in respect of the forthcoming cross-examination, my lord. And when I read, there are numerous, actually many instances where an evidence would be led, and then will be referred to the record of a particular date. You need to go back to that record. You will be referred to exhibits this and exhibit that in the record, my lord. Now, that took a very long time.
But are you saying you're not ready to
I'm not ready, my lord, to proceed. I'm not ready, my lord. Otherwise, if I had to come here and tell the court that I am ready, that will be an injustice to Mr. Sibia. I would therefore request, my lord, a further postponement of this case. And I will continue to prepare. Come that date, I'll come and tell this court that I'm ready or I'm not ready. I'm very cautious. I will be very cautious this time, my lord, because last time I remember I told this court that comes.
So what is going on here? People are like asking questions and seeking answers here. Obviously, Advocate Mnisi has cited that the number of pages are way too many, and that he has to analyze these pages, compare, contrast, and like formulate arguments out of all these pages. Is different from Judge Rata, who just reads like he's reading a novel. We all heard Judge Rata saying, I read all those pages, but it's different with a defense advocate. So there was a moment where Judge Rata, was like emphasizing the right to a fair trial, but then started saying that that cannot be used to abuse this system. So in other words, he was like trying to say that Advocate Mnisi is abusing the system by requesting for a postponement since he hasn't finished, reading all these pages. But is that really fair to Advocate Mnisi to say that? I don't think it's fair. And also Judge Rata highlighted the excessive length of the trial and the extensive time already granted to the defense. Well, the first statement does not make sense because it is himself, Judge Rata, who actually said that some trials can take 40 years, to get to a final conclusion. So there is no need for him to cite that and say that this trial has had an excessive length. And in light of that, the 2-month period that he had actually gave to Advocate Mnisi, it's like a small period of time. So in as much as Judge Rata wants this trial to resume, and maybe we get to a conclusion of this case, we cannot just rush things simply because things have to be done in that time. It doesn't work like that. Because the thing with life is that there are unintended consequences that we just don't see. We can think that maybe after 2 months, somebody will have finished, reading everything. But it doesn't work like that. There are so many things that come up. And also, he has to do other things in life, instead of just reading the document from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to Monday. It doesn't work like that. Obviously, we all want an efficient administration of justice in this trial. And the worst thing that we do not want at the moment is for us to try and force Advocate Mnisi to just push him and say, just go on with the trial. I think at the moment we have to understand Advocate Mnisi that he definitely needs more time to finish all this. So what is the solution to all of this? Because we need an answer right now to this situation. And the answer, unfortunately, is that Advocate Mnisi has to be granted 2 more months, to go through all of these pages. Because if you do the math, he got something like 75 days. And if you say 60,000 pages divided by 75 days, what you have is 800 pages a day. And in that 75 days, I've included weekends and holidays. Imagine the exhaustion of having to read 800 pages daily with no breaks. And it doesn't just end there. In those 800 pages, you have to be referring to yesterday's 800 pages. You have to refer to the 800 pages that are in the future. It's a lot of work. It's not humanly possible. Maybe reading experts can shed some light on this expectation from Advocate Mnisi. But it's just not possible to expect Advocate Mnisi to be able to pull it all inside 2 months. Maybe the challenge that Advocate Mnisi actually fell into is that he previously had agreed that after 2 months you would be prepared and ready. That was where the initial problem had started at. Yet he actually observed that it's not possible inside 2 months. We would not be having this discussion. So definitely Advocate Mnisi underestimated the amount of work that he has to do, and that underestimation is the reason why we are where we are today. So a solution is definitely needed, and Advocate Mnisi, when it comes to solution that I can actually give Advocate Mnisi right now is that maybe you can try using something like ChatGPT. I know I'm going to get a lot of anger for suggesting that, but these are the tools that we now have, and they can actually assist Advocate Mnisi. You can take all these 60,000 pages and you throw them inside ChatGPT. ChatGPT will just analyze, start comparing and pointing out the inconsistencies that are there, and even give him some questions to ask. And then he can come in, and start analyzing for himself some of the summaries that you'd be given. That tool, ChatGPT, can actually help him to speed up his own process. So in as much as I agree with him that he has a lot of work, yes, he definitely has a lot of work, but I think he has to move away from the manual way of reading each and every page, manually reading, writing down, taking notes. Just use AI tools to assist you in this process. At least that is my advice to Advocate Mnisi. If you have any advice that you have for him, tell me in the comment section and I'll catch you guys in the next one.